Allied forces launch Operation Overlord, a massive amphibious assault on the coast of Normandy to end the German occupation of France and begin the liberation of Western Europe. Well, I'm a big fan of Order of Battle. Really like the way they do so many things. Wow, this is looking pretty big down here in the mini-map. The weather is still not ideal, sir, but after 24 hours of delay, D-Day has finally begun with multiple airborne assaults behind German lines. Meanwhile, more than 6,000 Allied vessels, 6,000 Allied vessels, think of that as a monumental number, not of soldiers or tanks, but of vessels. From the heavy battleships to small merchant steamers are crossing the channel for the invasion of France. Soon we will be able to land ground forces in 5 sectors on the coast of Normandy. Northern France has been under Allied air attacks for months in preparation for Overlord. The coastal areas designated to the US, British, and Canadian troops have been cleared of sea mines, and Allied warships are preparing to suppress coastal defenses following the initial landings. Make sure to connect various landing zones quickly. Afterwards, move inland to take other objectives. Seizing the port of Cherbourg is vital. We will need to ensure a steady inflow of supplies and reinforcements to break out of Normandy and make substantial progress beyond. I'll have more to talk about commentary-wise while we play about that and what was associated with it all. Likewise, we need to take Saint-Lô, right here, the most important crossroads in the region. However, for the same reason, Germans want to hold it at all costs, so expect fierce resistance here. Finally, approach the city of Caen, probe the strength of German defenses in this area. If needed, establish your defensive perimeter and hold out while we are bringing in reinforcements. Right, okay. And we have 3 obviously. 3 commanders to attach to selective units. Okay, primary objectives. Land at designated beaches, or whatnot. Take Tarentan and Bayeux. Secure Cherbourg. Capture Saint-Lô. Those are all primary. Secondary, capture bridges in 3 turns. Blow railway bridge in 6 turns. Block Continent Peninsula. Or at the Cherbourg Peninsula? I don't know. Hold the Ornay bridgehead and clear the sky. I guess 0-2 take down enemy aircraft. Okay, airborne assault. A small airfield in the upper right corner allows you to deploy and land paratroopers into air transports and redeploy them closer to the front lines. Initiate. Okay. We have that up there. Embarkation. You can play this campaign with predetermined core force or compose a custom force from scratch. Which would you like? Would you like to use the custom? No, just because we don't have time. It would take considerable time for me to dig through that, and I want to sort of get moving here. These are deployed units. So these are all of our deployed units here. So we're going to be using the standard. Starting. Hello, Karnak. Greetings. This is a really big battle for Order of Battle. Blended. I don't, yeah, this is all deploy, so we do have some ability to purchase a bit more. So let's come here. Well, the Canadians, we can start with the Canadians. We have 5 land command points and 4 air. There's slots here. I think 7, we can't quite do that. We could do a M10 or an Achilles. Achilles would have a slightly better gun. Yeah, let's purchase and deploy that. Now I think there's a Gold Beaches. And deploy, I forget. Okay. Alright, we'll put him there. Now over to Britain. Britain, we have 13 points available. I don't think I want to go to 7 points. Okay, well, if we do like 2 tanks and here's heavy infantry, Gurkhas, do Gurkhas and 2 tanks. Flamethrower. Artillery. What artillery options do we have here? Okay. Well, you know, if we do this, to force us into a truck, no transport. Can we opt out of the transport? I guess not. Won't let us do no transport. Meanies. What I was thinking, maybe do like 7, which would leave us. Well, we could do 7. Some Gurkhas. Do that without transport. Do that. We have a lot of offshore. Okay, so we have a lot of offshore capabilities. By the time we get to that, that would be... Okay, I think that's what we'll do. So we're going to, let's do it Churchill. Big, heavy, armored, slow-moving Churchill, yes. Okay, so that leaves 6. So what we want to see about doing is 3 and 3. So infantry, we're going to do Gurkhas. Nothing else. And we want to, let's probably because we're not going very far, but we may want to move a bit. We'll do force transport. But didn't, oh, we haven't deployed it yet. Yeah, put it up there. We'll get that ashore. Now for the Americans. Hello! Satorello, how you doing? No chance for Germany in this scenario. No chance for Germany in this scenario. Yeah, not likely, but we'll get to why that sort of was. I got a lot to say on sort of the importance of a calliope. Six. Okay, that would leave us. That would leave us with 8. Got a lot to. Oh yes. Got a lot to say on that and why. 105. Yeah. Okay. So if we do that, just want to figure out my forces here. Infantry. We could do. These guys, engineers might be very useful clearing some bunkers and things. So that would be 6. That would leave 2. How is this? Don't know. See, I'm not, like I said, what do you think? Is the developers going to add a new campaign for this game? I don't believe so. Now, I have no inside information. They definitely in the past, when they started the trilogy of the Allies, I think they mentioned somewhere that it was going to be the final for this version. I don't know if they're going to make Order of Battle 2 or something else. I don't know. I'm not expecting it, but they've got a lot of great campaigns. So if you've played many of them, you already know that. But if you haven't, there's still a lot to do. 105 Sherman. Now this is one vehicle they did not use. Maybe we'll bring that in. We did not use this until later. Okay, so we're going to purchase and deploy. Let's see, do we want to be out here? Well, we're supposed to push out to Cherbourg. So British have got a lot of that. Let's put you here. Now, just walking infantry right now. Oh yeah, no, now just my understanding. Things potentially could be different. I am just a streamer that is streaming this for you, not a spokesman for the developers. 2 points left. So, and we'll do the air in just a moment. I don't think there's anything small enough. The armor, reconnaissance, scout cars. I don't think they would have been using any M3 scout cars for this late. Yeah, we could try. M8 Greyhound with a 37mm gun. There we go. Okay, so now we have some slots for air. So, well, let's close this. Right now, we have some paratroopers. We have some air here. Let's see. Up here, we have an air base. Or is this an air base? Well, it says embark paratroopers. Not an air base, though. Well, that's off map. I'm going to presume that that's also functions as an air base, maybe. Like I said, this is my very first look at this. Okay, we're going to presume that that is a functional air base. So now I'm going to go with, well, have 4 points for air. just want to see if there's a aircraft, 2-point aircraft. There's probably a reconnaissance plane for 1 point. Okay, so let's go with these guys here. Sort of clear the skies. Now, it really won't matter for air bases for reconnaissance because they don't ever need to land, but they're good. Hey, Luigi. I'm sure. I'm doing great. Yeah, this is D-Day. This is the new DLC. This is I'm literally you're seeing this just as much as I have or haven't seen this before. Just starting it here. So yeah, D-Day, and this is a massive battle as you can see here. And now, and clearing the skies. Really like this too. Okay, let's go purchase and deploy. We're gonna put you out here more. So now let's go over to Britain. Yeah, I wanted to get some reason I picked this because the Thunderbolt's pretty long range fighter, so they should be able to operate deeper behind. Now let's look at Britain here. Don't we have mosquito? Let's go with the mosquito down here. And again, we have a little bit more points. So let's look for a for Southern. I like this big flying boat. So we'll put that there. And Canada. Hey, Tony, first gen. Yep. So far, I'm digging this DLC. Okay, fighter and strategic bomber for Canada. You can see here only 6 ground attack. This has 10, so let's put that there, and we can also throw in a reconnaissance aircraft. I don't know why they're doing 4 unless they're really intending us to grab a reconnaissance aircraft for each of the... I don't know if I put all these in the best spots. There, I was doing... Yes, VJ might have last one fighting the Soviets, I hope. Well, that would be fun. I don't know if they do. I haven't heard or looked into it. Okay, so I think that is what we're going to deploy. I'm going to wait till units are ashore and figure out really where I want to attach my commanders to units. So we're going to leave this here. Okay, so we know our objectives. Right, okay, so British heavy infantry. British infantry, okay. And let's see, these are Skytrain British paratroopers. Hold until relieved. I don't think we should maybe push too close to there. Let's think about that. supplies. Get next to the beach. Light cruiser. Okay, we're gonna. These. You seem to get better effect from shooting if you haven't moved in this game. Too much, but we'll move up a bit here. I want to take out these big guns that might be shooting at my ships and other fun artillery practices like that. Once you shoot 17 pounders, virtual light tanks, the first turn. See if we can finish off this. Yes, better results, less movement before shooting. So if we could hit anything useful at this position, I would have stayed here. Isn't the Belfast in London River? Or is that some other ship that I'm, in the Thames, I should say? I'm sure we're going to, at some point, need to shoot at some of the concrete bunkers, but I just we're most endangered of. Let me just take this one fully out. Okay, Arkansas. Okay, very good. That's just gone to Texas. The Texas recently moved to the floating dry docks. I don't know if you saw any videos of that on YouTube. It was really cool. But the Texas is still around. One thing I found sort of surprising, one of the videos I watched after it was moved, they did a walk from the bow to the stern down below the ship, because it's up on a floating dry dock. Actually, I think two of them, because he transitioned from one to the other. And so started at the bow and went all the way to the stern on one side of the ship with one of I think the head curator or whatever for the ship, along with the camera person. And they got to the rear, and when they first turned it into a memorial ship, they cut the drive shaft off at where, or somewhere near where it left the hull, and removed, totally cut away both of the propellers. So it is a propellerless ship at the moment. I just thought that was interesting. I think part of the reason was to reduce the galvanic action. So they were copper, probably brass propellers, and that doesn't play well with iron. So we've got some of those totally gone. I think that's all of our ships to shoot at the moment. Infantrymen come ashore, more Canadian infantrymen. Heavy infantrymen. Oh, ARV. Oh, we could use that. I don't know if they're going to shoot us up badly for that. We'll see. This is still very much an experiment for me. Okay, this is supply ship. What we'll want to do is once we get to get some of the shore positions established, we'll want to move that, and that will count as a supply link. Or point at supply point. And for what Satarella was saying earlier, you know, we look back at D-Day and we see the, you know, overwhelming superiority of the Allies, and so, you know, the Germans just had no chance. You know, why would they even, you know, why did they even think they did, kind of thing. And that does, you know, make a lot of sense to sort of see it in that format. Okay, there, bigger supply ship. We're going to come down here. But you got to look at it from the German perspective as well. The Germans actually build, as we well know, a lot of defenses along these beaches. Now, this only goes out to Cherbourg, and I don't know a whole lot about the Cherbourg Peninsula, but from reading I know a lot more about the Brittany Peninsula, down and over and around, and that is an extremely rocky coast with very few and small beaches, you know, with rocky cliffs behind them, kinds of things, so that even if you get ashore, you know, put your feet into the sand, you may be, you know, sort of looking at a Point de Hoc, which is, I think, here, type situation of getting out of it, you know, able to shoot down, where a lot of this isn't that way. So the Germans know that the Allies have lots of these things, ships with big guns on them. And they know they have lots of transports, and they know because of previous experience, you know, in Sicily and Anzio and wherever, they got lots of landing craft that they can put ashore a lot of people. And and to defend everything is to defend nothing. So they know they can't defend everything. Construction group. Oh, maybe that's going to get us aircraft or airbase. We'll see about that. We'll move that up in here. So the Germans, you know, there's the whole controversy. Do you do what Rommel wants to do and pre-deploy the armored divisions along likely or expected invasion areas to rapidly counter-react? the invasion, or do you want to do the von Rundstedt plan and keep them as a central reserve? Who's right? Well, probably von Rundstedt. Why? You may go, but Gamer, that's the plan they followed, and it failed. Yeah, you're right. And Rommel, the reason he wanted to pre-deploy them along the coast was he had experienced in North Africa particularly what it is like to operate, to move a lot of units while being attacked by Allied air power. So he knew, man, that isn't going to be a pleasant undertaking. So let's put the divisions somewhat where we need them to be. Now the question is, would one more, say, I forget how many divisions, armored or motorized, they had in the reserve, would one more division along Normandy here change the outcome? Well, we can look back and say no. It would have gotten more Allied servicemen killed, very likely, but no, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. What the Germans understood, and this is from the German perspective, I'm not saying that this is the actual truth, the actual facts, but the Germans understood that yes, the Allies can come ashore, they can get there, and we can make it as painful as we want to, but they can always get ashore. What we've got to do is secure places like Caen and this relatively small port. It's still not terribly big port, but an actual sort of functioning port of Cherbourg. We'll put a lot of, big guns and concrete bunkers and whatnot, and secure these critical points, because yeah, you can get the guys ashore. Yes, you can. Let's start walking. Oh, we have a bunch of aircraft to do. Okay, more. Okay, they flew to there. Now Halifax bombers. Yeah. Okay, let's take this out. Okay, found another big placement there. Let's move our Typhoon right next to the airbase here. Okay, so we have some flat guns. Those are going to be painful. Good thing we're a little ways away, not far enough though. Okay, let's see about moving these guys back in further. These guys up as escorts. So like I was saying, the Germans knew that if they were to hold critical points, you can only move so many supplies across the beach. They knew this. And they knew the Allies, can, have strategic mobility of the oceans. The Americans and British particularly have that inherent. I guess we can do a straight through. Mosquitoes. It's much good, but just to do some escort there. They can go a lot of places. Well, we're sort of using these as reconnaissance as well. I don't know if they're going to spot units in towns or cities or whatnot, but now here, Parenton. Let's just these guys. Oh, they ended up there. Okay. Let's fly them back behind. See? And another flak gun. Oh goody, we're gonna get a lot of flak here. Well, we'll at least escort these guys so they won't be too shot up from... No, let's drop on here. Very good. You know, so so you know, with the strategic mobility, the Allies can go wherever they want. And the Germans have seen, particularly, and then, you know, how much, you know, okay, North Africa, yeah, especially the landings out in Vichy. Of course, Germany had no real ability to rapidly deal with that. And Sicily and Italy, you know, the Germans can put it down to, hey, the Italians are Italians during the war, and they were unable to throw them out, and the limited German forces were unable to throw them out. And so if the Americans can get a good, strong foothold, we can't throw them out of the continent. But Northwest Europe, strategic mobility for them, they've got lots of rail, they've got the ability to send in supplies, and so they think they can create a Gallipoli, in essence, because the Germans obviously know about Gallipoli. They help the Turks from the other side of that. Let's drop all these guys, just trying to take care of all the big ones. Oh, good. Good. Now, what haven't we moved? Okay, supply ship. I guess we can move that ashore. Probably won't be too damaged by... We've gotten rid of a lot of offshore guns. Same here. Not everything, but a lot. Okay, yeah. Let's get you closer. Ah, HMS Enterprise. Okay, we can fire on. I do like this pretty good walkthrough feature. Yeah, I missed a couple of these ships. Okay, that reduced them. And, oh, okay. And another ship I missed. Oh, good. Totally took out those coastal guns. Got that artillery piece, which may be a bit of a pain later on. And you guys can go there. Take some reconnaissance out. Airborne Peninsula will... Oh, 17 found it. Yes, you can come over there. Ah, these are the Rangers. Point to Hawk. Okay, well, we blasted Point to Hawk. We can still come ashore there. Okay, that is it. So we have completed our first turn. And no, I have not assigned any leaders. Okay, so we can watch. Yeah, this is going to be painful. Probably should have just dropped. Oh, that was very painful. They're shooting. Okay, a little pain there. Okay, they're shooting with that big gun at there. Fine. Ouch. Oh, okay, no real damage. You're shooting them up there. And if as you know, Germany understands it, their reality, because they think they can create, like I say, Gallipoli, in which at the point of contact, Germany can move in some very good divisions and supply them effectively with rockets and heavy artillery rounds and tanks and ammo for all that stuff and fuel. And the Allies can't. So does Patton's infamous soldier slapping incident take place after D-Day? No. P.S. That takes place in Sicily. He Okay, I'm sort of waiting to get some units ashore before I assign these guys to any units, and I'm not really, quite honestly, sure. Reuben Tucker, I'll admit to, I really don't know who he is. I'm guessing from the look of it, he's a colonel in the airborne, but that's just my look at it. Of course, I know who Monty and Patton are. I've read Monty's book. Patton should not be here on D-Day. It should be Omar Bradley, because Omar Bradley is basically the American commander on the ground. Patton is only brought in. He is for two. Well, I would say the bad publicity is the primary reason Patton is not given command on D-Day, but he is announced as commander of, I forget the army number, that's sitting in Dover. So he is put in charge of the army, as a size of a unit, an army in Dover. And he goes around Britain making lots of speeches. Now, if you know a bit about history, as talking to the Phantom Army, that army only really existed on paper. There were units as part of it, but it was nowhere near the army scale. But they set up a lot of dummy equipment. They set up a lot of particularly radio communications trucks to try to talk to each other, maybe in code or whatever, but try to create enough radio traffic as if it was an army training for operations to make Germans think that this army out in Dover area is going to jump across to Calais, and that he's going to lead the invasion. So he's being, doing that as a distraction from the real attack. But then he is brought into Normandy for the breakout, because eventually Bradley and Montgomery get bogged down in the hedgerows, and they can't get ashore. They can't break out, or they hadn't broken out. Patton is put in charge of it. And like I was talking about, the Gallipoli mentality that the Germans have, that's what they expect to happen, not necessarily here in, if you look at all the defenses, it wasn't the primary beach areas that they thought would be invaded, but it was probably the secondary levels of likely beach invasion areas. And what the Germans just don't grasp, cannot understand, is the floating harbors and the plans to, two big concrete floating harbors. I hadn't even looked into this stuff up, going off of memory. Some of you guys probably know better. Two big floating harbors, and then like one more additional one or two that are going to be, they already have a bunch of old ships that they're planning on bringing in and sinking to create breakwaters for other sort of, by floating harbors, I mean big concrete things that they're going to, come in and sink, fill full of seawater and go down to create breakwaters. Another one was a bunch of ships with a bunch of floating piers inside of these floating harbors, and that is a super big secret for the Allies, that these even exist. And that's just something the Germans just don't conceptually get, that it exists. So yeah, if you put, if you do the Gallipoli thing, yes, we all know that this force had armor where Gallipoli didn't. So, yeah, there are definitely some changes there, if you will, already. But there's still, the Germans, of course, had armor to counteract it. So they look at it as being a situation that all you got to do is keep the Allies from capturing a significant enough port, like Cherbourg. Caen is small, good to have, helpful to have for the Allies, but probably not enough to allow you to sustain an ongoing operation of an invasion that is coming. I take Patton retires and or dies before the Korean War. Well, Patton, there's conspiracies about Patton's death, but I think it was late in 45, or was it early 46? Someone might know. His car is hit in a car accident, is smashed into I forget what by, and he breaks his neck. He spends a few weeks or something like that in hospital, slowly dying, basically. So yeah, Patton dies after the war. But there's conspiracies as to, okay, we have a bunker here. We've got heavy weapons, so we're going to... Now, a lot of the bunkers, like we didn't see the bunker until we got ashore, were camouflaged as well. Some very cool pictures of things like that. We don't need the Achilles right away, I hope. You can only come ashore here. I'm guessing that there's more here in the town. Well, the Germans have better of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get ashore here, and then we're going to. No, we have that, but we're going to put a few rounds. These better odds. Now what do we, okay, heavy infantry, ARV. So we're going to put the ARV ashore here. Okay, those are, it's armored vehicle Royal Engineers. These, I believe, are the sort of the funnies, the vehicles that are going to be used to blast bunkers and whatnot. Okay, yeah, let's creep a little bit further. Not really helpful, but let's get you ashore here. Okay, now we're talking. You Canadians, oh, from that side. Yeah, it is sort of a sad end. Okay, well, I'm not going to keep up in the air, keeping up in the air for these guys. British paratroopers and more British paratroopers. Ah, here's some landmines, but fortunately didn't drop in the middle of them. Yeah, that's the end of Patton, as it were. Okay, we're gonna go away from these AA guns. There's a bunch over here. I don't know. Blast that heavily. Okay. They're sort of all jammed up there. So let's. Well, maybe they can. Oh, it's. Ah, okay. Notice people here. I hadn't been paying attention really. With these big ships here, this sort of brownish water is shallow waters, and these big ships can't get into them. So keep that in mind on your plans. Meaning they won't be able to sail right up the estuary and bombard Cannes or something. But the destroyers can get somewhat close there. Should have done that first turn. Okay, Eisenhower never has a frontline command during World War II. Just prior to World War II, he is chief of staff, basically number 2 guy, to MacArthur out in the Philippines. Okay, so before, and I don't know exactly what year, like 1940 or 41 or something like that. Up until that point, he's out in the Philippines. He comes back to the U.S. At some point before the war starts, I do believe. I'm going off memory, so get this wrong. And he is pointed in command And it's pushed by FDR, the Brits, because they know that they're already getting so much supply and other equipment from the Americans, and now they're going to get more. They have to sort of placate the Americans, they feel, because the Americans are pushing for it, to have an American commander. They don't want to do this because they see the Americans as not knowing what they're doing. And to a point, they're right, because they haven't experienced this modern war yet. The modern war is new. They agree to having Eisenhower. This is it's in 42. Because war starts in 41, but that's December 7th. So it's in 42 that he's put in. I'm not sure of the date. He is the overall theater commander. So basically, Eisenhower throughout the war is a manager. He is not a combat leader. And I don't want to diminish his military ability, but we just don't see what his military ability could be, because he doesn't ever command in the field. Now, he is responsible for some very important things. One, approving plans. So whoever comes up with, the Operation Torch landing in North Africa, or who's coming up with the Sicily invasions or D-Day, he's ultimately approving the plans. And he's the one, and there's, really good, the movie The Longest Day and whatnot. And then there's also another movie, I think it's called Ike or something, starring Tom Selleck, who plays Eisenhower. Great movies to watch. He's the one that approves finally the go or no go on D-Day. So he's approving all this stuff. Now, it's other people mostly coming up with the plans, but he's approving it. But get back to it. We say he's a manager. So he's managing the personality conflict. And supposedly they sort of respected each other. But the personality conflicts between, say, Patton and Montgomery, which continue here in Northwest Europe, but start down in North Africa and then into Sicily. And so he is managing the American versus the British sensibility in conflict. He's managing, the original concept was a, D-Day landing in Northwest Europe, and a simultaneous, what they called anvil landing down in the south of France, hammer and anvil, the hammer smashing on the anvil, as to also land in, somewhere down in the south of France. Well, they delay the south of France landing because they don't have enough of these things, landing craft, to do both invasions at the same time. So that gets delayed until they can round up enough landing craft and get it around. And it's also the big ones too, and not just the small ones, but get all that around. And then they do finally do a landing down there. So that's what Eisenhower is doing in the war. Very important job. Not wanting to dismiss Eisenhower as being unimportant, but that is what dude. Yeah, well, yeah, he is a manager. I don't, yes, he is obviously a president, and a president is a political job, no doubt. I don't want to suggest it's not. But, oh shit, I should have gone right into the Point de Hoc area. Okay, we're gonna be smart this time and do offshore gunnery before. I think we can wait on those targets, so we're going to put there. So yeah, and that's, and I think it was Marshall who's in charge of George Marshall, who's in charge. I think it's George Marshall. I know it's Marshall. He is starts out at least as the highest ranking military commander in the U.S. Army. And he is the guy who's running the war back in Washington, D.C. He never has a overseas command. So he is, running for the Army, running the war in the Pacific. There's MacArthur, which is hard to run, and then sort of doing the Army elements that are supporting Nimitz in his naval operations, the Army elements that are being sent off to India to help the Brits out there, and running the war, you know, in Europe, and he is the one that comes up with, after the war, and manages, at least in the overall thing, the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe, just to sort of cap off who Marshall was. So he's another very important, very talented commander, and he is, I think, the main one who pushes Eisenhower as being the person to go with for. For Supreme Commander in the European Theater of Operations. So, and he's the one, you know, so he's picking that person. Well, I don't think we want to be in the swamp, so let's all go onto the beach. But before we get these guys, remember again, we don't want to move if we can help it. I know we have that there, but we're going to see if that can kill that. We do. There is a gun up there, but I think we'll ignore that for the moment. So, okay, he can. Oh well, no, he can fire here. I think those 3 units got this. So let's just move a little bit down to here. And fire on that. Just have, say, better president than most generals turned presidents. Yes, probably one of the best, although Washington was no slouch. Yes, yeah, Washington did very good. I don't know how much presidenting he did compared to the modern world. I just don't, you know, I have great respect for Washington. You know, like I say, I don't know how much presidenting he did. So, meaning, what did he have to do? Okay. Well, unfortunately, these guys aren't going to get to attack, so these guys are going to move in shore. Now, what we want to do is connect a supply ship to this shore so they remain in supply. Yes, we can move in some heavy Shermans. Well, let's see what else. Engineers. Oh, we want to get the engineers ashore. Figure like a lot of these bunkers and places we'll need it. I don't know just where these guys can, if they're going to need to come here or not. They might be able to get up in this sort of swampy territory. Just get these guys somewhat. Oh shit, we ran into mines. A little bit of damage there. Okay, watch that. Mostly hands off. However, he did step in a couple of key times, i.e. pardoning the leaders. Oh, yep, I know he did pardon. And if I'm not mistaken, he also put down the Whiskey Rebellion. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I have high respect for Washington. Don't take this as a... let's land back and carry time. Okay, well, there's Germans there. This is going about, or maybe as good or worse than they did historically here. Okay, well, they're going to get shot at, but he's going to try to save the infantry here and then fly a little ways away. Well, we're having a bit of problems, so we're going to come down this way. While we can, so that turn So yeah, like I say, I have great respect. And you also have to realize, to a very large extent, Washington's job was a manager as well, because he was, you know, managing a rebellion. I mean, you know, we ultimately got to look at it as such, and not just fighting battles with the British or some idea of that. He is dealing with a lot of, you know, different state-based or colony-based at the time military units that are being sent to him, and managing the local officials and all that kind of good stuff. Again, trying to get supply ships touch. When they touch like that, they give supply in. These groups will be counted as in supply at the beginning of next turn. Get our Gurkhas up front, which I don't think there were any Gurkhas there. Okay. Okay, we'll get these guys in here. This is... Don't really need the anti-tank guns yet. You there. So these guys are the ones that can get into these shallower waters. Artillery pieces, potential death on us. Okay, good. Yeah, well, Eisenhower had a lot to deal with. Truman, of course, previously had a lot to deal with as well. Got this one bunker over here, but I don't know that it's paying me to get to there eventually. But I'm going to move this way to shoot at things like that. Or this, right? This turn, because I don't think there's an ammunition problem. Hello, Beam Slam! Good to have you here, my friend. Now, I think we'll just use the old... What we haven't... What's action points? Yeah, we're not... Okay. We're going to try to stay away from all these anti-aircraft guns, I think, unless I want to try to kill that now. We have the hold on. We have the paratroopers, don't we? Yeah, where are they? Although they've already landed here. Right, okay. Got to run into any German air units. I gathered that was clear of this guy, so... let's... Ah! Hello! Panther! Stug! More units. Okay, well... Peter probably would be better than this Tempest, but... Back playing here? No, okay, you can come down here. The Panther, try to take him out. Well, so far so good. Yeah, there was very, very little. We're supposed to, quote unquote, a bonus objective is clear the skies, and there's well, so far 0 of 2. So I'm guessing those 2 are meant to be 2 Luftwaffe planes of some sort. But I do not know. We're just going in and doing reconnaissance there with you. Let's continue through the... Oh, Churchill. Let's get the Churchill. It's going to be sort of full. Let's get a short there. Oh, well. I need to come ashore next turn. Now we've got much better effect after bombing the hell out of it. And let's move ashore. We're off the beach. Okay, we now have bombers. Okay. I think my parachutes. That was sort of my big mess. Step. We have these guys still. Yeah, we're not attacking. Oh, well, we'll try to reinforce as best we can. We're gonna leave that. I'd rather be in slightly better shape and just hope they don't do too much damage. Oh. Hey, Plastic Gangsta here. If you place a destroyer in the shore close unit, they will provide supply. Okay, we do have the supply ships, so, but good to know. So we do have like that supply ship there, that supply ship there, so we do have that. Plastic Gangster out pretty early for Slytherin. All the more Sliths for me. Yes, well, this is Thursday, and it's, well, I thought they were going to have tea time starting at 8 a.m. my time, 4 p.m. your time, but that didn't happen today for some reason.